Hi, everybody, and welcome to another live stream. And thanks so much for hopefully spending the next 60 minutes or so with myself and my compatriot Jed, who we will be talking through the issues du jour. Now, before we do that, there are several things. I've just spotted Jed's icon for the night. In the background, this will all become obvious in a minute. Lots of things I want to talk to you about, but the first thing I need to do is hello. Just get the chat going here. Just want to say hi, Chris Davies, all the way in sunny Cannes. I know Cannes so well. Lovely spot actually down there along the front. I wonder, Chris. Hello, Leslie, Templar, John. I want to see all you guys. I also want to hop myself over onto the Gettrs and just make sure I see the chat over there as well, folks. So just give me a second as I get the live stream up and the chat running and the volume turned down. That was me doing my Klaus Schwab, by the way. There we go. That's what one of the first things I have to do, by the way. Guys don't know this, but to make this stuff all work, one of the very first things I have to do is shut myself up. So there you go. I know lots of people think, "Oh, I wish we could do that," but no, I just so I don't get double echo. Hi, Robert. Hi, Mr. Britas. No, don't forget, folks. The daily podcasts are back with a vengeance. Make sure you catching up with those. In fact, I'm going to talk about one of those in a second. I just wanted to touch on. Gregulate from the south coast of the UK. Hey, good to see you over in Blimey. Hi, James. Hi, Brian, Keith, all of you guys. And Robert just popped in. Had to say hello. We'll listen to you tomorrow. That's fine. A lot of you folks listen in replay. That's fine. Others want to be live so you can interact. It's fine as well. So yeah, thank you very much for being here. Now, let's start off with a good news story before we get into the main event. Oh, no, by the way, don't forget. Yeah, guess what, guys? There is the David Vance shop. Boom, 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 boom. Down below. Go and check it out for all the goodies we have available for your delectation. Do check it out. The link's below. And of course, you can buy me a coffee. Link below. And in this way, we keep the momentum rolling. Brian talks about the last time I was here, it was in the Elizabethan age. Now we live, Brian, in the Carolean age. Can you believe that? The Carolean age. Hard to get away from it, actually. And I'm just seeing you. I'm just seeing you guys clocking in. Hi, aloha, Donny girl, my good friend from Hawaii. Good to see you here. Do share on other platforms. Let's get this out, folks, as we do our best to sort everything out. Actually, Sean. Hi, Sean Ahern. Good to see you. Sean actually brings up something. I want several things I want to start with before we get into the main event. This is going to be a compendium of all kinds of news stories. First of all, feel good story. Did you see that the Emmys recorded their lowest ever viewing figures? Did you see that? Well, you certainly didn't see the Emmys because nobody's watching that woke nonsense. And hi, John Ferguson, and it's good to see it. Hi, Vicky, good to see you. David J, John Ferguson, all great to see you guys. So that was feel good. Now, this is something I wanted just to touch on. Sean Ahern says, very interesting podcast about the gene deletion this morning. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hi, Summertime Sue. Even though it's getting into autumn, Summertime Sue is always brings the sun with her. Thanks for being here on the YouTubes. I'm on the YouTubes, I'm really living dangerously on the YouTubes. But here's the thing. I wanted to say, we did do a podcast, which I think it went out this morning or yesterday, but it was all hi, COVID Vax Virgin. Good to see you. As always, real pleasure. Biotech Babe as well. We did a podcast which speculated from a study that had taken place in Luxembourg that one of the impacts of the Pfizer therapy is a deletion of a gene or a part of a gene which impacts on the cognitive reasoning of the human being. You should check it out. It's a good one. We probably cannot. Hang on a second. Who says? What's it? James Jameson says, what award ceremonies are dead. Who watches that garbage? Answer, probably people who have had 4 jabs. I guess James is the short answer to that one. Gorgo Nights listening when cooking a BBQ. But anyway, we put out this podcast, and as I say, it interested me because a lot of you folks watching this and listening to this in replay or watching it in replay will be aware of the fact that one of the great conundrums we have in this time is how come those who have had multiple jabs cannot see that there might be a problem? No problems. Why is that? And the answer is really in that little podcast. So I'm not sure if we can bring it up, Jed, and we can maybe show it up on the screen. But it was just I've had quite a wee bit of a response to it from folks who think, well, you all know people. I know intelligent people as well as unintelligent people. But I know intelligent people who nonetheless have taken the jab first time, second time, third time, and they seem to have lost all ability to reason, which is kind of a shocker. I'm being told there's no recession on the Côte d'Azur from my friend Chris. Well, Chris, I'll raise a cup of coffee to that glass of wine you showed me a picture of the other day. So cheers, Chris, and I hope you're having a great time down on the French Riviera. Obviously, I take it, Chris, that the French no longer have any, COVID restrictions nonsense about getting into their country, because if that be the case, I wouldn't be going there. I think they've dropped restrictions everywhere, by the way, around Europe, I think. Here we go. Yeah. This is the podcast. I would recommend you actually do listen to this one. It's called "Why Are the Fully Jabbed So Unthinking?" And in it, I say, what if I told you that Pfizer listed as the #1 most serious reaction to their treatment the loss of critical thinking? Can't go into it here because we're on the YouTubes, but if you give it a listen, you will. I think you find it quite interesting. Anyway, the whole issue of why are the jabbed unable to think. And I've had I really thank you for all the feedback from all of Biotech Babe says I have friends who are vaxxed. Their effect is different, dulled. Well, yeah, you see, it's the same thing, Biotech Babe, sort of dulled on thinking, maybe get angry if you challenge them. And maybe that's because maybe some of them regret their decision making. Maybe that's a possibility. Do you think? Of course, all of us who never took the things haven't got the issue. We don't have the issue, but anyway. So look, that's just a little bit of a couple of things I just wanted to chat about this morning, or rather, sorry, to start off with. Okay, we're now going to talk about the things that I said we were going to talk about, and with that in mind, I'm going to bring our producer and my compatriot here, Jed, on, because I've been watching, and you can't avoid it. You cannot avoid it. The whole issue, the whole Queen Elizabeth dies, and all the lying in state business, all of that has been going on big time in the UK. I know you guys in the States maybe don't get it, and in that regard, you're probably quite lucky. But I've got to talk to you guys in the States. We'll talk about this in a minute or later on. We're going to talk about the FBI raid on Mike Lindell. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the US stock market crashing. Thanks, Joe Biden and your Inflation Reducing Act. We're going to talk about that. There's an interesting comment. Gallo Gal over in Gettr says Spain are making an announcement tomorrow regarding the jabs and masks. I wonder what the situation is in Spain regarding these stupid things, because I'm being told that in France they're gone. It's gone. See, I think the COVID thing is done. We'll do more on this in times ahead, but I think they've almost run the line on COVID. But excuse me. So I'll be interested to know what the Spanish are going to actually talk about tomorrow. The purebloods are on tour in the south of France. Chris Davis, my friend, leading the charge for us along the avenues of Cannes down on the French Riviera. So, yeah, monarchy. You see, I'm very conflicted over this because at this point, I've watched probably too much of it. I couldn't avoid it. I had King Charles III arrive at my local village yesterday. Did I go to see him? No, I didn't go to see him. I did watch it. And Northern Monkey says, never go full retard. They went full retard with COVID. Yeah, problem is, Northern Monkey, those who did go full retard aren't coming back, I don't think. James Jameson asks about FBI to pursue political opponents. Is America nearing a civil war? We're going to talk about that, James. Hang your fire on that one. But back to the monarchy business. So you can't get away from it in the UK. You know, it's the BBC have been milking this for all that it's worth. And there's been huge amounts of ceremony and pageantry. And Jed, if I can bring you in this one, you know, we've seen. Well,
good evening, everybody.
Is that a rabid dog or is that a happy dog? Which one is it?
That's me. That's what I really look like, David. You know this. We've met.
I know this, but viewers have to be gently let into the secret that yes, you are.
Well, people say I'm barking. Hey, that's an old one.
There we go. That's a drum roll.
I'm here all week.
We need to have yes. We need a drum roll. So oh yes, Chris Davies says Charles keeps acting like a spoiled child, snapping at the peasants. Did you see the YouTube of King Charles getting angry in Edinburgh because the inkwell hadn't been moved out of his way? And then yesterday in Belfast, the pen that he was signing some proclamation with has didn't work or leaked. And he wasn't very happy about that. So anyway, have you watched any of this, Jed? What's your take?
I haven't, David. I've deliberately kept away because the only thing I'm actually going to watch is on Monday, and I'll watch the funeral. Because I think it's for those that don't get me wrong. If it's your thing, it's your thing. I'm happy for that, yeah, and I think it should take up most of the airwaves, you know, most of the time. I do believe that. I just don't believe I wish to watch it 24/7 or, you know, for 18 hours a day. I don't mind popping in and going, oh right, yeah, now the coffin is in Westminster Hall. Fine, great. Those that want to queue up for 30 hours, please do so. You know, it is history in the making. You know,
I've got family relations who are flying over to London on Saturday morning, very early, and they're hoping to hopefully get into the Great Hall at Westminster and see the Queen's coffin. And so it's some people's thing. Yes, Chris 775. I see your question, your comment about that. There's a lot of things, Chris. We can talk about. I think probably I'll wait till Monday gets out of the way, lest I be locked up in the Tower of London.
Well, David, you see, the Tower of London is my regimental headquarters.
Well, could you get me out then?
I couldn't get you out, but I could definitely get you in.
That's not good.
But to be honest, David, to be honest, I could not get you in. Now, believe it or not, when I was serving down at Sandesk with a mixed unit, we had day trips, and we said day trips. They're educational trips. Why? Because an educational trip, you get free transport from the MOD, so a free minibus. They were drinking trips. It's just that one person couldn't drink. But we went, for example, we had a tanky with us, so we went to the Tank Museum. We went somewhere else, and I said, oh, well, we'll go to the Tower of London, guys. I'll get us in. Don't worry. I rang the Tower of London. They went, yeah, of course you can come. I said, I've got a minibus, you know, of 16. Yeah, please bring them along. The price at the door is, and I went, pardon? I said, it's my resume quarters. Oh, no, you still have to pay. So we never went. No, I'm sorry. I've been there in uniform and they let me in. Not a problem. The fact that we wouldn't have been in uniform, they wanted me to pay. You can forget that one.
Now, Jet, I love to pick up in the comments from the folks. Gregulate says, as an American in the UK, it would seem all news has stopped except the Queen's passing. Biotech Babe says, it's historical, but 24/7 coverage must be overwhelming. Actually, Biotech Babe, it's not so much historical, Jed, it's hysterical, because I've seen so much that I wish I didn't, and yet you get hooked on it. You do get hooked on.
No, you do, David, but it's the 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
If you think, 40 years ago or 30 years ago, when well, I'll go a little bit longer than that. But when we had only 3 or 4 channels, when we had 5 channels, we thought, wow, even at that stage, the USA had hundreds of channels already. And we only had the 5, and we thought that was fantastic. But it turned off at night. It's the 24-hour news cycle. So the 24-hour news cycle has to generate content. It's just like you, for example, if we ask you, David, to start streaming at 8 o'clock in the morning and carry on 24 hours, you've got to repeat yourself and repeat yourself and repeat yourself of news that comes in. Otherwise, you would not get through the 24/7.
That's right. In fact, they'd be burying me if I had to do this 24/7. Believe you me, I'd be lying in state, and it wouldn't be in Westminster.
But a lot of it is the same thing repeated. And you'll see a guest come on in the morning, for example, with Field Marshal Julie Hartley Brewer live from the front line in Ukraine. Banging her pots and pans for the NHS and lining up for a jab as she fights on the front. And supports the Queen, and wants to walk past the coffin. She has, a royal correspondent on, and then you watch, Independent Republican Mike Graham. 2 hours later, he's got the same guest on, so asking the same questions, coming out with the same answers.
I know, and nobody asks any of the. No one asks any of the awkward. There are awkward questions. In fact, folks, we have a hard truth going out. I think on Rumble tomorrow, Jed, which ilana, Mercer, and I have recorded. And in that one, I wanted to look at the Queen's Christmas message of 1957. It was the first televised Christmas message that she ever did, and there were some things that she said in that. And if we hold her to what she said, she didn't deliver. Now, I do get the point that someone, as if I fly like an eagle, says, I prefer seeing the TV all about the Queen instead of COVID. I agree with that. No one wants to see anything about COVID. We're done. We're done with COVID. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to talk about it anymore. But look, I just think that 24/7 on this it's just too much. You're probably sensible, Jed, to wait until Monday and watch it on Monday. But I have to also, Jed, remind everyone, do watch us when we go live on Monday, because we've got a great guest on, Mr. David Rasnick, PhD. And we're going to explain to you guys, if you need it explained, that there's no such, that I'm watching myself because I'm on YouTube, that we got big questions about HIV and AIDS. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm certainly not going to be putting it out on YouTube, I think. But it's going to be on. It's going to be 3 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. GMT on Monday. Watch it. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat we had with John Hamer on Monday night concerning the Titanic. Did you all enjoy that one? If you've caught up with that, we got. Chris Davis is saying, I think you'll be awarded a state funeral, David. Yeah, but it'll not be this state, Chris. It'll probably be North Korea.
A state rather than this state.
It'll be a state. It'll be a state of a funeral. Yeah, that's what's going to be, Chris Davis. I'll get a state of a funeral. Oh, by the way, Jed, I bet you're excited about the fact that the brave, the valiant Ukrainian forces, they've beaten Putin. They've kicked his ass. They're winning. It's the biggest victory known to mankind. Did you see that in the media today? Made me laugh.
I have heard them saying Ukraine is winning. It's one of those, if you lose, you win type thing, isn't it? The bottom dollar is, David, they have, in one sense, they have won. Why? because not only have they raked in billions during the war, when the war does end, because it will end, then they'll rake in billions for redevelopment. They are going to be the next richest country in Europe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you're right in that, but they've lost so many of their young men, on the battlefield, and no one talks about that. And yet, it's funny because one of my concerns was that the media's gone on about Zelensky's brave forces. They've won back 6,000 kilometers of land. But Jed, I don't remember the media telling me that Zelensky had lost 6,000 kilometers.
No, but it's also a bit like Field Marshal Haig, isn't it? During the First World War, when the Blackadder particularly did this well, when they had this piece of turf on the top of a table. And so they went, how much land does this represent? And he went, this is 1-to-1. This is the amount of land we've recaptured. And it was a square foot of grass. But that's what we're looking at. They've won back a square foot of grass out of tens of hundreds of thousands of square feet of grass. So it's irrelevant.
I see our friend John Gleason, who's a great supporter of the channel, says he's bought 2 of John Hamer's books straight away.
That's brilliant.
John, I have been speaking to John Hamer today, and as per what Jed and I have talked about, I think we will have John back on to talk about the JFK. Well, what happened in November in Dallas in 1963. I'll put it in that because John's written a really interesting book in that. So
I'm glad he's going to come back with that, David, because that looks really interesting, that one.
Yeah, so I hope you'll enjoy that. I'm glad, by the way, Harry Johnson also enjoyed the Titanic presentation. As the reason I was so keen to do that is, and this is the point, folks, wherever you are, it isn't just over the last 2.5 years that the authorities have lied through their teeth to us and smiled and told us, yeah, this is definitely what's happening. This is definitely what's happening. It's been going on, well, some of you know, for a very long time. And in the last, it certainly wasn't 2020. It go back to 1912 and even, beyond that, there's been a lot of lies. And I guess, does that make us truthers because we're just simply trying to put alternative interpretations or insights on the things that have happened? Well, I'll leave you to decide on that. But Greg Elliott says, I heard a couple of Brits, Jed, talking about Ukraine getting a big win. I just shook my head. What else can you do? What else can you do?
No, I agree. Because again, it's propaganda. You've got to win the information war. And that's what the media have been trying to do, over the past 6 months or so. They're trying to win the information war. So it's irrelevant of whether he wins or loses in the end. Because if you win the information war, then everybody will think that Ukraine was successful, even though it was annihilated.
Well, the Daily Mail, which is the worst newspaper in the world, I watch it, I read it, so you guys don't have to read it. But I'll put this out on my social media, Jed. It's laughable. Their headline, get this, is Ukraine has pulled off one of the greatest counterattacks in modern history. Military expert Justin Brog says Vladimir Putin has no good options left, and Russia's entire invasion force could collapse in the worst defeat since World War II, written by the British Military of Defence and published in the Daily Mail. Isn't that absolutely... What's your thoughts?
It's propaganda, David. It's military doctrine. It is what it is. You like I say, the first battle you have to win is the battle of information. So if you can get out your narrative and keep your narrative alive, then you're halfway there. In fact, it's irrelevant to what happens after that. Because if you're feeding the British public and the world with your version, here we go with these sort of left-wing terminologies, your version of the truth or your truth,
my truth,
left-wing versions, then you've won because it's irrelevant to what happens.
It's amazing, the propaganda. Chris Davies, as always, Chris comes in with some brilliant insights. It's a 1,000-year land dispute at best. Chris, you are so correct. You're so correct in that there. But it's just that, as Jed says, folks, the propaganda is unbelievable. The propaganda is just full. It's right off the scale, but it's kind of what we have come to expect. So, but jumping back into the monarchy thing. So, I mean, I titled this Monarchy or Mimickry, not just least for the alliteration, because I like the alliteration, but also because, I don't know how things are going to work out with King Charles. I've got questions about King Charles. I really do. I think by and large.
Monkeys. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
King Charles
yeah,
III,
the
not
one.
the dog.
The one who doesn't like inkwells, that one I've got questions.
I thought you were taking me for a walk there, David. I got all excited.
Yeah, not yet, not till we finish yet. We got to get through an hour 30 minutes of this, but we certainly I've got questions about him. And by the way, folks, I know some people talk about the 300 families. I understand all these kind of stuff. Not going into it tonight. I think the time for a lot of this is going to be after the burial next Monday. I think that's the time when we can start asking questions. But some people, Jed, some people have said, "Oh, some people don't understand that this is the biggest event in 70 years, and constitutionally speaking, for Britain." So it's not in the least bit surprising, Jed, to my mind, that some of us talk about it. We talk about it, and we do have some degrees of empathy for what's going on. Hi, Melanie, by the way, good to see you.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, David. I don't object to the wall to wall. I really don't object, because I've seen some people, and some people are truly bereaved. They really are. I've watched that as I've grown up. Whether it was the Silver Jubilee, Golden Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee, whatever it happened to be, there are some folk that live and breathe the royal family.
Oh, there are.
They live and breathe it.
Yeah.
So this is just like losing a family member. Absolutely, just the same as Charles losing, a family member, his mother. Then. Yeah. It's just the same for a lot of quite a few other people, us peasants, and I don't begrudge them that. I don't begrudge this for the 10 days or however long it will end up being. Bear in mind, we've got the coronation to go next year. But the point is, I don't object to it, and I don't object to the TV being taken over by it. And the reason I don't is pure and simply because it's historical.
It's history. Yeah.
And it is history in the making. You will go, the people that are 10 years old, something like that just understand what's going on right now. When they're in the 60s and 70s, they can say they were there when the passing of the longest queen to reign ever. Yeah. That's I understand that, and I don't begrudge that.
It'll never happen again. I've got a little 2-year-old granddaughter. She's too young. She doesn't know what's happening. She's way too young. And it's kind of sad because I know all she will ever know is basically a King Charles. But interesting factoid, folks. As we do this live stream, Her Majesty's body, Her late Majesty's body, is lying in the Great Hall in Westminster. And the interesting fact is that, hi David, by the way, David Franklin, thank you for being here. It is in the Great Hall that the first King Charles was sentenced to death. The very same location where the Queen's body lies is where King Charles I, the first and only British monarch to be executed, that's the spot. So it's full of history. I just love history. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes people misunderstand sometimes why I go on about these things, but I do love history. I feel
some of the news has been, this looks like it's been planned like a good military operation. Well, actually, it has. Every single step that is taken, from the second it was announced. In fact, even to announce it, everything has been rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. Just like it was mentioned on Independent Republic of Mike Graham today. Somebody called it and they went, it's 20 minutes past 2 that they leave Westminster Hall to march to wherever. Yeah, so that makes 6. Okay, and 6 was significant because if you had 20 past 2, that's 6, but 2 and 6 is the 6th of February, which is when she was coronated. Yeah, 6th of Feb, either something like that. But then somebody rung up and went, no, at military marching pace, yeah, you can only do X amount of steps in X amount of time. So to get from Westminster Hall to is it Westminster Abbey and wherever it is, yeah, for 3 o'clock you have to leave at 22 minutes past 2 at the military marching pace of 147. I'll get this wrong now. 147 steps per minute.
Very fascinating. By the way, I fly like an eagle says on Gettr. As an Irish woman, I am going down to London just to see the atmosphere and to honor the Queen. And thank you for that, because I mean, I think I've had a bit of flack in recent days, maybe from other Irish people who I would align with on other subjects on this one. But, you know, I really do think that, just on point again, you know, we have this ancient monarchy, and it's imperfect, and the individuals, some of them may be far from perfect, but you can't help but I think have a recognition of what's happening, and that's really all it is. Right, that's enough talk about that there, because as I say,
well, David, just before you move on to the next one, only because it came up on a comment by Jason O'Brien about Chelsea's national anthem.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
here, David. I've got here, and I'll bring it up. I'll just make it quite large, and I'll just bring it up because Rangers defy. Here we go. Rangers do defy, and they sing the national anthem. So there you go. And I think they're absolutely right to do that, because if UEFA can say, get on your knee and wear Black Lives Matter, and that's not political, but that our national anthem is, then we need to abolish UEFA. And I don't play football. I don't like football.
I know, you know, yeah. Well, I know Jason said, Rangers and Chelsea. Well done, Rangers. Well done, Chelsea. And apparently West Ham also did it tonight. I know there's a lot of football happening tonight. So it's interesting. Jason talks about the Queen was descended from the High Kings of Ireland. I also think she was descended of German stock, and we could get into World War I, and there's a lot of stuff I could talk about, but I'm not going to talk about that. Right. So, hi, Faybox. A young mother in New York just lost her head. Gosh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that story. Right, Jed. Net zero. I wanted to get to this one here now. For some of you in Northern Ireland who may be watching this, or who will watch this in replay, I am going to be attending an event next Thursday the 22nd or whatever it is, on climate change. And I think they've got me, and they've got a climate change zealot, an eco warrior, and we're going to have a bit of a chat. And Jed, my starting point in the whole argument on climate change is, and this, got to get to net zero. So here's my first argument, Jed. Tell me what you think. I reckon what we need is more carbon dioxide, not less carbon dioxide. And therefore, I would encourage everybody and everything to do as much as you can to generate, Julie, as much CO2 as possible, on the basis it actually, any gardener watching this will know, if you want your plants to grow big and strong, stick them in a greenhouse. Why is that? Because the CO2 concentration is the higher.
It's what they do with the tulips. They pump it in. So it's 4 or 5 times higher than natural, because they grow faster and they grow taller.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, Jed, that again on this net zero, I mean, I know what they're not trying to say. There won't be any carbon dioxide. I mean, they're not trying to say that. because that would be the end of life on Earth if there was no carbon dioxide. So they're not that crazy. But to get to their net zero, what they're proposing is, nonetheless, that essentially the deindustrialization of the West.
Right. I'm going to, in some respects, Dave, I'm going to correct you there. I'm going to agree, and then I'm partially going to disagree.
Yep.
So I will agree with your general comment there, the deindustrialization to a degree. And the reason I say to a degree is, if I was a big manufacturer and my process required me to produce CO2, I can do that. Why? Because I can buy carbon credits. And therefore, those carbon credits, a taxation, allows me to produce the CO2 I need to manufacture my goods. Now, who do I buy those carbon credits off?
Oh,
I tell you, there's about 4 or 5 people, and Al Gore is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's who I buy them off. So it's not saying you can't pollute. Oh, sorry. I'll correct myself there, because CO2 is not
pollution. It's not pollution. Yeah.
Okay. It's not a greenhouse gas either. But for me to carry, so what actually happens is I go, right, I'm going to carry on producing my product, and I'm not going to change any of my manufacturing processes. I'm just going to buy carbon credits from Al Gore. So I buy that. So what do? I put my prices up, and it's a vicious circle. Prices go up, consumers have to pay more, so on and so forth. I produce more, I then pay more credits, blah, blah, blah. It just goes round and round and round in a circle. And that's what all this is about. Because if you notice, every single net zero policy is a taxation policy. Because everybody is going to go, great. I'll go and buy an electric car tomorrow. Why? Because I don't pay tax on it. There's places where I can charge it for free. I can charge it at home for less than I can out on a public charger. Why? Because a public charger's got 20% VAT on it. But I'm telling you now, right here, right now, that when you plug it in at home at the moment, right, you are paying, I think it's 5% VAT on the fuel you suck to charge your car.
Yeah.
However, when more and more people have electric cars and there's less petrol and diesel cars, what's the government going to do? I'm telling you now, if you get a charger fitted in your home right now, electric car charger, it has to be on a separate meter. Why does it have to be on a separate meter? Because it can charge you a separate price for it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So that's one thing. Then when all those petrol and diesel cars start to dwindle on the roads and we're paying fuel duty on the car and road tax, do you think your electric car is going to be free of road tax? No, because they're going to have to add that to the road tax. They're going to have to add fuel duty to the electricity that you use to charge your car. That's why you have to have a separate charger installed.
Because I see Smokey Bear. Hi, Smokey Bear, by the way. Thanks for being here. Over in Gettr says you've got a 20% VAT on public chargers. I think so. That's right, Chad, is it?
Yeah, 20% VAT. We have 20% VAT on everything except for children's clothes, children's books, which there are no VAT, and then some items they have what they call is it special VAT?
It's a reduced level of VAT.
Which is a 5% VAT charge. But the only things that aren't VAT charged at all are children's clothes and children's books.
And the thing is, like when I, as I said last week, I was at an event where this person was on about the fact that we've got to get to net zero because it's illegal. It is illegal, Jed. It's a legal obligation made by the British government at Glasgow at COP26 and instigated in the 4 different regions of the UK. So we're legally obliged to get there, even though getting there will destroy us. So maybe
we could go down. You know, I'm a great anti climate change. Well, man-made climate change.
That's it.
I'm not a denier. Climate change is changed for a millennia, and it will change for another millennia.
Exactly.
But the thing is, human beings will still be here. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless somebody presses the big button and blows us all up. That's the only way we're going to disappear off this planet.
Yeah.
But yes, it's what they really want is for you not to have a vehicle, therefore have to use public transport. But don't worry. That little pod car that will pass your house every 20 minutes, You get
Yeah.
that to the local shops. You don't have to go any further than the local shops because, or the local supermarket, because that has everything for you. And therefore, the roads between your town and the next town, we don't need them anymore. We can rewild. You've heard Charles. Yeah. And I'm not talking about the dog.
Yeah.
King Charles
Yeah.
talking about rewilding. You know, WF talk about rewilding. UN have talked about rewilding. This is what it is. It's taking your little town, your little hamlet, your little city, and cutting off the roads in between them. Because why? You don't need to travel. Everything's in your smart city. Don't worry. Everything's connected. Everything's Wi-Fi. Everything's this. Everything electric. Where's your electric coming from? The vast majority of electric still is generated by gas and coal.
But they're good. Yeah, but that has to stop. They have to stop that because
No, but they can't, David, because we know that solar and wind, you only get solar power when the sun is shining. Well, in this country, that's not very often, and in Ireland, it's even less.
Never shine.
And then wind. Yes, we do get wind, but often we get the wrong wind. Here we go, leaves on the track and all that. We get the wrong wind. The wind is too strong for too short a period. So they have to turn the turbines off because the turbines have a gear in, they'll only allowed to spin at the maximum RPM. If it's going to go over that, then they have to shut them down. So we only get a small proportion of the correct wind. And once we've got that correct wind, yes, it will generate energy. But you see, Boris, before he left office, said, and I've mentioned this before, and I'll get the measurement wrong, but the value is correct. And we're currently producing something like 30, megatons of whatever it is, or megawatts of wind power. And he said, we're going to get that to 40. And that's great because we produce 30. We have done in the past. We have produced 30, but not regularly. The occasional here or there. So we will produce 40 of the whatever the value is every so often. But we cannot produce it every single day. And that's the problem with solar and with wind. It's not a reliable source. Nuclear is, gas is, coal is. Simple as.
Couple of comments I want to get in. Brian Baru tells me on the YouTubes that they only get sun in Ireland in the sunny southeast of Wexford. And Northern Monkey piles in, Ireland doesn't have sun power. Ireland has rain power. Yeah. But
you see, there's also another myth, David. I know you wanted to talk about this. I know you did mention it to me. And I'll just bring up one of my posts from earlier this week. So I've got this one here. They talk about, people will die from climate change related catastrophes. I'm sorry, the science does not back that up. Okay, so deaths from climate and non-climate catastrophes since 1920 to 2017, latest figures. You can see there's the blue line of how good we are now at stopping people from dying from climate related. So, tornadoes, etc., those sort of things. Yeah. So look how good we are at it. We are brilliant at it. There's something like a 95% reduction, but they don't tell you that. They lie to you. What they actually do is anytime a climate alarmist speaks to you and says it's been the hottest, driest, wettest, whatever, they'll give you a date and they'll say since 1986 or since 1999. What you then need to do, whatever the factor they're talking about, whether it's forest fires, rain, snow, is go back before the date they've told you. Because what they tend to do, if they want to show something is rising, they'll pick the lowest point they can. If they want to show you that something is falling, they'll pick the highest point they can and say, look, since then it's fallen, or since then it's gone up. Look prior to those dates. That is the truth, and that's the data they hide.
Yes, but the entire climate change narrative is based on, it's predicated on this notion that it's an emergency. It's a climate change emergency. They use their words very carefully because just like with COVID, if we are in an emergency, that means that governments can make tough decisions for us little people. And I suspect, Jed, that the next lockdown that comes along won't be a COVID lockdown, but it will be a climate change lockdown or linked to the world, to the general area of energy/climate.
Absolutely. And they can do that with your smart car. They can shut your smart car down. Yeah, absolutely. Well, they can stop you charging it so you can't go anywhere. Yeah. these electric cars and the Internet of Things. Remember that terminology that we used to get in the early 90s and early noughties? The Internet of Things. The Internet of Things was the start of the control of all your devices. You look at your mobile phone now, there ain't nothing you can do. If Google decided to do anything to my phone now, I can't stop them. They could shut my phone down because they don't like what I say, and there's nothing I can do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Toyota could shut my car down if they wanted. They only have to send a software update to the car to say, don't go any further. We're all caught by it, and the only advice I could ever give anybody really is buy dumb phones, buy dumb equipment. Stop going. It's nice going smart, but have a backup of dumb items. So just a phone.
I agree, Jed. Yeah.
I know what I mean.
And Jed, it is worth pointing out as well that in California, which is the biggest economy within the United States, and I think it's one of the biggest economies within the world. In California right now, they are limiting the times when people can charge their Teslas. If you want to charge your Tesla in California, I think you're going to find that between the hours of 4 in the afternoon and 8 at 9 at night, whatever it is,
9 p.m. at night.
Yeah. And actually, our friend Chris Davies on the stream here pointed out earlier, he is driven from in a petrol or diesel vehicle from Calais in the north of France to Cannes in the south of France. And all he saw on the way down, Jed, were Teslas in big queues doing their 8-hour charge or whatever the heck it takes, because there's no infrastructure there. So this rush to net zero it's suicidal. It's suicidal.
I agree, David. I'll bring this up as we chat about this, because I think this really explains it, and the graphic explains it too. Okay, so I'll give chance for people just to read the comments above, and then I'll enlarge the image. But the bottom line is, I did that article, didn't I, for Alt News Media, where I did the journey from, I think it was Paris to Milan or something like that, in an electric car, and conversely in a petrol car. I'm sorry, in a diesel car. In a diesel car, you'd fill it up at the beginning, fill up halfway through, and it would take something like 16 hours, including a stop, to get there. But within the best petrol or the best electric car for range that I could find, it would take you 3.5 days. That is the point of electric cars. So now people have had a chance to have a look at that graphic. I'll now pull it up. I'm sorry I can't make it any bigger, guys. That's about as big as I can make it. But what you've got to understand is, you see we're down at the right-hand side here. Okay, so down at this side here. Yep. And we are still, in fact, it has been, a study came out earlier this week. I'm sorry I couldn't find it on my feed, but it is on my feed. A study came out earlier this week that we've had now, I've got evidence of the Earth cooling. And it's cooling because, why? Because we're limiting the amount of CO2. The last time the CO2 dropped, now, don't get me wrong, CO2 and temperature are not linked. But all I will say is, during the mini ice age, CO2 was round about 150 parts per million. And
that's right. Yeah. And Jed, if it goes much below that in terms of parts per
plants
million,
will stop. Plants will die. Plants are dying when you start getting below 300 parts per million. Really, they're not healthy. But as you can see here, we've had up periods which are hotter than the period we are currently in.
But what was causing that heat? Was this was this the Flintstones driving around?
It was, David. It was.
The rock stars.
It was, mate. But that's the same when we come to, when they talk about things like more forest fires. No, we don't. We actually have less. There's like acreage burnt every year in forest fires. But they then put into the minds of the young people that all forest fires are bad. But some forest fires are needed to regenerate the forest. But this is a great image, I think. And I'll just pop this up. This is, I think, a great image. a Tesla, a company van of Tesla filling up with petrol.
Yeah, well, you got to get.
You can't even have electric ones for themselves.
Thanks, Elon Musk. Elon, by the way, having a few issues with the Twitter shareholders at the moment, but we'll not get into that one. No, I want to move on. So I want to move on because we've only got 10 minutes left.
Yeah, I understand that. While you move on, I'll just put that one up very briefly.
Yeah.
So you do want to know about climate change, guys? Go to my Gettr feed. There's quite a bit on it.
Do check out. Yes, exactly. And do make sure you're all subscribed to Jed, by the way, as well on Gettr, because they're going to keep going with climate, and we have to push back, and we have to push back on all the fundamentals. So we deny them the fact that net zero is in any regard a worthy objective. Alice says here, Lander, the minimum hot age 1100 to 1300, then 100-year freeze followed by. Yeah, Alice, to Jed's point, temperatures have gone up and down since forever, and it's as simple as that. Right, I'll tell you what we need to talk about, Jed. Oh, right. So let's jump back the other side of the pond to the US of A. So I want to ask all Americans watching this one, how do you feel about the old FBI raiding Mike Lindell, the pillow guy? His I think it was his house, or was he camping somewhere and they raided him? And I thought to myself, that's interesting, FBI. So, yeah, I think, Jed, you've got it there. They're raiding Lindell's house. They've raided Trump's house. I mean, is it only a matter of time till they raid everybody's house or everybody?
Not only if you're a conservative / Republican. Yeah. But don't do left. Don't you dare do Democrat.
Well, I mean, I think this is outrageous. Honest to goodness. I mean, so Mike Lindell, obviously a prominent MAGA Trump supporter, and he's obviously questioned the integrity of what back in 2020. But they stopped by the FBI and had a cell phone seized. I mean, yeah, Republican rocker, FBI is asshole, absolutely. Hello, FBI, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. It'll boost the numbers. But yeah,
make sure you subscribed.
Yeah, come on, make sure FBI you subscribe to this platform. Yeah, come on, CIA, we need you on. You need to hit the subscribe button. That way, you get to listen to us conspiracy theorists. But I mean, it is horrible, Donny girl, and it is fascist. And I mean, it was bad. What they did at Mar-a-Lago was completely unbelievable. And what they've doubled down. So Mike Lindell says they stopped him in Minnesota, seized his phone. Well, I mean, what is happening in the United States? James Jameson says, I see the Democrats are pushing towards civil war and not the January 6th LARPing, a real civil war. Well, you see, and I noticed.
I agree, because I think they're pushing for that while they still have the reins of power. Because then they can impose martial law, they can change the entire voting system while they've got martial law, etc., and they can lock up whoever they like.
Yeah, actually, Dreamer corrects me. Thanks, by the way. It didn't raid his house. It was a hunting trip, and he stopped at a drive-through for food. I mean, I think that what they want is they are trying to get MAGA to respond. And I noticed earlier today, I think Biotech Babe, you said it on my stream, my Gettr thing, that's not, of course, they want a violent reaction. We don't want anything like that. We want a peaceful demonstration in November in the midterms that annihilates the Democrats electorally, FBI. That's what we want. And this is what, but it's the Democrats are pushing so hard. I mean, it's amazing. They really, I mean, everybody of any significance who's behind the MAGA movement is being targeted by the FBI, and that means that people used to talk, Chad, about, in the Soviet days, people talked about the KGB. But honestly, I don't know what you guys think, but I reckon that the FBI are worse than the KGB.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because you knew the KGB was out to get you. There's still Americans who think, some Americans, particularly on the left, who think the FBI are on their side. I'm telling you now, the FBI have that much power They are no longer on your side. Neither is the CIA. Neither is the NSA or wherever it is. None of those deep state organizations are on your side. They are out to get you, and they will get you by the your use of smart devices. They love the fact you have a smartphone, you have Wi-Fi connected home, etc. Wi-Fi connected car. They love you.
Well, actually, I see Dreamer 1066 says it begs the question that Mike Lindell asked: was his phone or car being tracked? Well, I think you've answered it, Jed. Of course it was. Yeah, 100%.
Why wouldn't they? They have the technology, so why not? Even if they listen to all the calls and all the texts from Mike Lindell, and they never, in fact, they record them but never listen to them, it's irrelevant. They are, and then if they do need them, they can pull them up from the archives.
Yeah. I mean, this is a serious threat to the constitutional republic, in my mind, of the United States. Because
I think it is. I think it is heading towards civil war and states seceding and forming a new America.
Well, Jed, just cast your mind back to 2016 when Donald Trump did win the presidential election, and what happened straight away? There was all these dodgy dossiers, all this stuff going on, and the three-letter security agencies were after him back in 2016. And that culminated in the events of 2020, which we can't discuss because we're on YouTube. But I think you all know what I'm talking about.
We know the real crime family is. I'm sorry, David, is the Bidens. But every investigation, every time there's a hint of Hunter Biden, this, that, or the other, or he's done taking money from China, it's all hushed up by the media, by the FBI, by the three-letter agencies. Yet Donald Trump wipes his nose with his left hand today and right hand tomorrow, then that's front page news. We all know about it. Why do we know about it? Because they're tracking him constantly.
Yep. You're right. You're dead right about that, folks. And it is seriously disturbing. Smokey Bear says, I honestly do believe Jed has struck a point. This country will not remain whilst if we're going down this road. But it's the Democrats. The Democrats have absolutely weaponized the three-letter agencies, but they've never been good. And by the way, spoiler alert, when we start to talk about what happened in Dallas in 1963 on that fateful November day, I think you'll find we'll be talking a little bit about the three-letter security agencies then as well.
I think that's where the rot started.
I think so, yeah, because actually, Jed, it was subsequent to the events in Dallas that the two terminologies were deployed, which we use all the time now. Number one, conspiracy theorists. They deliberately used that terminology to demonize anybody who asked any questions about what happened in Dallas to JFK. And secondly, Mockingbird media, which also came out of those events. And Mockingbird media is what we're just surrounded by them everywhere. The Mockingbird media, that's part of what we do here. We're trying to give you guys the alternatives to the Mockingbird media. But yes, I fly like an eagle says, yep, 100%. The Bidens are the criminal cartel. He is can't say that on the YouTubes. No. Joe Biden is the most totally legitimate.
We know that because it was fortified.
It was a fortified election. Well, YouTube might be listening, but but we know it was totally legitimate in 2020. We totally know that. And that's why, for the sake of everybody watching this, whether you're Brit, Irish, UK, whatever it is, or American, most particularly American, you guys got to get a result this November. You cannot let fortification to happen again. We just can't. The world cannot afford that. That's why, Jed, I always feel this is where ourselves, us Brits, and all the MAGA folks have complete unity.
No, we have, but Republican rockery, the midterm outcome may reverse this dark course we're on. I hope it does. I really do. But to get that outcome, you need both houses. because you need to stop the crazy laws that the Democrats have already put in place for elections, etc. You need to reverse them. Get rid of, one of the worst things I think the Americans have done on the voting system is gone electronic. We still use a piece of the paper and a pencil. Well, and I suggest you don't use a pencil. I suggest you use a pen, because a pencil can be rubbed out as well. But we still use pencil and paper, and the vast majority. I know we have a problem with postal votes, nowhere near on the scale the Americans have. But the other side, the other issue the Americans have, I'm sorry to say, is they put their ballots into a machine and it counts their votes. Ours are manually counted by people, and they're watched while they count them, and they will be recounted if need be. If any member of a party thinks a batch needs to be recounted, they will be recounted manually.
So Jed, so I see Old Bat is saying, asks the really interesting question: what do you think will be the October surprises? They always talk about the October surprise before the November election. Or they'll probably find evidence that demonstrates theoretically that Trump is an alien or something, like some insanity they'll come out with, because they know, Jed, to damage. Trump has such a grip over the Republican Party, and a good thing. I'm really happy about that. But they want to damage Trump's reputation in such a way that he won't have time to deal with it.
I think what they want to do is get him on an indictment to stop him, because I think that's they believe the only way they can stop him, and they will find anything. Now, we keep hearing it, particularly over here, particularly with Giuliani Brewer and that professor from Birmingham who is a Democrat, and he teaches.
Oh yeah. Lunatic,
absolute lunatic.
Yeah,
but they keep going on. It does come up, and it has come up end of last week, beginning of this week, where they say, "Oh well, what's Trump do with all these documents in his home?" Blah blah. But there is no question whatsoever about the 3 million documents that Obama took when he left office. That he said he was going to digitize. There's no question about any other president that's taken millions of documents as they have left the White House. Not a single question. Nobody knows. Everybody only thinks at the moment Trump is the only one that's ever done this.
Oh, I know. But the problem is that they've got the mainstream media in the US. You've got your CNNs, your MSNBCs, all of that, and they're just as corrupt as ever. You've got big media. You've got big social media, Chad, like the Twitters, like the YouTubes, like the Facebooks. And can we trust them? I don't think so. So it's going to be tough. But I agree that I think our friend Republican Rocker said it, that Julie says this, the GOP needs to win both houses, just as you said, Jed. It has to be. And I think that's going to be I put out a question, and I can't remember, I said this in the past week, and everyone kind of, when I said it, most people went, and my question was simple. If they were able to fortify in 2020, what's to stop them doing it again?
I said that as soon as they fortified that one, absolutely. But no question was asked really about Clinton's email server, in the mom and pops.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah.
Bear in mind, she doesn't have the authority to declassify Word the President Trump did or does. Right. He can declassify any document he likes. Yeah. She didn't even have that element of going, oh, well, I declassified everything. Utter rubbish. Nothing that's been swept completely under the carpet. Trump, he has a post-it note that he took out to the White House, and then the FBI is smashing his door down.
Well, the other thing I wanted to say, we're going to wrap it up in a second, but Biden made a lot of noise, Jed, about what was it? The Inflation Reducing Act. I think it was called something.
To be free money for everybody.
The Inflation Reducing Act. And we live in the age of Orwellian doublespeak, where the words that they say mean the opposite to which they say. And everyone, I'm sure, in the States today, if you've been checking if you got stock, I'm sure you do have stocks, or investments in the stock market. The US stock market went down the toilet today when the inflation figures came out. and the underlying inflation figures are really, really seriously dangerous in the United States. So I just think, Jed, that, again, it's so unreal. This the 2 months out from the midterm elections, the U.S. stock market's crashing, the economy's doing very, very badly. Obviously, we've got all the energy crisis, and it doesn't matter that prices have sort of gone down a little bit recently, because they're still way higher than they were when Donald Trump left the White House. So I just wonder,
but David, the ultimate thing is, and it's not being pointed out by the media, because what they want to do is again still lie to you, but it's not being pointed out. Why are we where we are right now? And we are where we are right now because we had 2 years of lockdown and governments printing money that they did not have, printing it as fast as the machines would print. Yeah, and throwing it around to everybody. That's how you get inflation. The energy prices really, really have very little to do with Russia's invasion. I just think it's absolutely hilarious that in 2018, Trump stood in the UN and said, Germany, you are too reliant on gas from Russia. And the German delegation was laughing at him. Who is laughing now?
Well, the people that have been told they have to have a cold shower every morning because energy conservation, which is the Germans. That's another reason, by the way. Wouldn't want to go to Germany on a holiday at the moment, because I'm thinking, I like to have a hot shower in the morning, not a cold shower. Not really into that. But you're right. You're right. The whole thing is so weird, and it'll be fascinating to see what they do regarding October surprise. I think somebody I saw a comment there. Yeah, we could have a nuclear size October surprise. We absolutely could do, because the madness.
That was Republican Rocker, I think.
Yeah, I saw that comment, and actually, Republican Rocker, you might well be right. But listen, folks, we have gone as usual past our allocated time. I always do this, but hey, we're having a chat. It's just us chatting, so what could be more enjoyable than that? We're going to bring it to an end. I don't know if you got anything to play at the end, Jen, or not. Doesn't matter.
I think I was pulling something up when you come up with something else. So just bear with me a second. Just talk. I've got something. Yeah.
Just make sure whatever it is, it's not going to cause us problems with YouTube when it comes to their you've what's it that keeps saying?
No, I think I'm not having a go at our fantastic American followers, but this is just to show how dumb. And we could do this on the streets of the UK, so don't worry. It's just been done in America, but it's how dumb some people can be. And I'll say some, not Americans, because it could be UK, but it just happens to be the US.
Right. Well, but okay, we'll finish in that. We'll finish in what you're going to show, right? But before that, just to say, folks, we are back tomorrow on our Podbean Thursday live Podbean. Some of you like to come to that, where you can actually come into the studio and chat to Jed and myself and our other colleagues. So you can come onto the Podbean, but I think Jed will also be simulcasting it here onto Gettr. So you'll get that. And other than that, just a big thank you so much, folks, for sticking with us here on the live streams, on the podcasts, on the social media platforms. I took a little break. I needed a little break. I'll tell you, I'm back, and I'm twice as determined as I ever was to get some truths out there. So listen, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jed, and thanks, James Jameson, by the way. James is 2016. I'll read this out. I need to read this one out. James says 2016. This is the Star Wars trilogy, isn't it? Was A New Hope. 2020, The Empire Strikes Back. 2024, Return of the brackets Trump Jedi. Amen to that, brother. That's what we need. And remember, my initials are DV, Darth Vader. I'm the evil emperor. Right, play the clip, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow night, folks.
Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Originally.
I definitely don't know.
No, give me your best guess. I guess a country.
What is a country again?
Do you know what country the Panama Canal is in?
No.
If you had to guess, what do you think it sounds like it's in? Guess a country.
Europe.
Yes. Do you know how many moons the Earth has? Around how many, if you had to guess?
2?
Yes. Do you know what time this is?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 2:45.
Yes. Do you know what country the Great Wall of China is in?
Country?
Yeah. If you had to guess.
Japanese?
Yes. Do you know what the third month of each year is?
Ain't that leap year or some shit?
Yeah. Do you know what 15% of 100 is?
Fuck.
Around what it is, if you had to guess.
Probably like 75. I don't know.
Yes. Can you name all the months?
September, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August.
Yes. Do you know what 7 plus 7 plus 7 is?
28. No, I'm bugging. 14 plus 7. I don't know.
What do we call a shape with 5 sides?
Is it an octagon? Wait, that's 6. That's 8. Octagon is 8. Is it a stop sign?